And welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money Presents Perfect Transformation with my two collaborators, Dr. Rick Howard, naturopathic doctor specializing in health and wellness and life issues, and Elder Dennis Hatchett, who is the CEO of Embrace Ministries with corporate offices in Cincinnati, Ohio, and of course myself, Michelle Graves, affectionately known throughout the United States and the nation and the globe as the money lady for the last 3 decades. No, I'm not a young woman. I just have good genes. That's what they say. But we're talking about in our last segment on this beautiful adventure called Perfect Transformation, how I can become all that is in me to become, and the steps and the things that are necessary for us to be those things. And as I share with you, viewers, at the very outset of this, I had reached a point in my life, having turned 65 at that time, where I began to understand that money was way oversimplified and that people were in pursuit of something that could not and would not happen unless core changes took place. So like everything I do, wanted to bring in people that were seasoned and called with wisdom. See, young people, it doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't have wisdom. And sadly, wisdom is predicated upon so many times life experiences. It's just the way it is. And so with that in mind, I said, I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to actually go deep into this subject matter. So this show concludes, at least at the outset, the whole issue of perfect transformation with my two absolutely amazing guests who have partnered with me to do this. Will we be revisiting this? Absolutely. We will definitely be revisiting this subject because we have not exhausted it. But we have at least given you some major fundamental principles, and now you can begin. You can begin the process that is so needful and necessary to become the success that God has already deposited into you to be. So on that note, today's subject is success. Perfect design. Is it possible? And the theme is to properly transform our minds and lives, we must pay close attention to the ideas, traditions, and values we hold dear. These ideas, traditions, and cultural ideas shape our thinking and are what enables us to experience success or failure. We must strive with all we have to find and nurture the success that God has planted within each of us. Did you hear me? This is so important as we conclude this entire subject of perfect transformation. I cannot make you a better you. I can only work on me. But I can tell you that when you have the tools which we have labored with to give you, and you have the desire to make the necessary decisions to change the choices, you will see some things happen. Miraculous. I'm telling you, it will enable you to look at your life as a serious venture, not something haphazard or mindless as children. You know, children just do everything. And when I see adults do that, I find it very troubling. I really do. So again, on that subject and with this backdrop, we're going to begin our last and final segment for this season on perfect transformation. Success. Is it possible for me? Dr. Rick Howard, a pleasure.
Good morning again.
Doctor, no, not doctor, but you should be. Dr. Dennis Hatchett. Thank you for coming.
Good
This
morning,
last
good morning.
show. God, where do we want to begin?
Well, I guess for me, when it comes to success, people have different measures of what they consider success. So in some ways, I want to define two things: what success really is, and then how do I evaluate my success potential? Okay, a lot of people lived years and don't see the fruit of success. That doesn't mean you're a failure, but it may mean your goals and your idea of success was not clear. Okay, so we want to talk about how to get there. But first, every person has three dimensions: physical, mental, moral.
Okay.
So success has to be the harmonious balance of all of those three powers. Okay, you have to balance the physical, the mental, and moral powers. Now these are all dimensions, because morally, that's what gives me my ideas of which way I'm going. Okay, it says you're going to be a thief. No, you're going to be a businessman. No, you're going to work and have a good family. You see, your moral boundaries set the palette for success. Okay, gives boundaries. But mentally, intellectually, if we will, that gives me tools for how I accomplish that. So I either prepare myself. Some people go to school, some people don't. Some of the most brilliant people never went to college.
Absolutely.
Right? Carl Lindner,
Yeah.
he was successful before. Bill Gates, Stephen Jobs. There's so many people, Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
All of these people, it doesn't take a formal education to be educated.
Correct.
Okay?
I would agree.
But your education gives you tools to accomplish your success. So if you don't know what your tools are, if you don't know what it is you have that will make you able to grab hold of success and keep it, then you have to go back to evaluating. So success is taking the moral direction. What
As
will
as your guide
as a
post.
guideline, as the
Yeah.
boundaries.
Okay.
I'm not going to drive outside this lane.
Yeah, 'cause
right?
I'm gonna get crashed
People
on.
make money being street workers, but that's not in my lane.
Right.
You see,
Right.
that's a
right.
moral decision.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to steal from my job. That's a moral decision. This is the lane that I want to carry. Then the intellect, or the educational training that I get, which can be formal or informal, gives me tools. But then if my physical dimension is not capable of carrying the load that I'm bearing, then the resources won't be there. You see?
So when you talk about physical, and I'm going to get to you in a minute, Elder, when you talk about physical, what do you mean?
Okay, each of these dimensions have, and maybe when we restart again, we'll talk about this, because moral goes down, it's not, people think religious all the time, when that's too narrow of a viewpoint. Moral power is fame. See, it's a moral power that people are using to influence other people.
Okay.
That's moral power. So when I'm famous and people look up to me, I can say, wear an orange jacket. And all of a sudden they come up and everybody's wearing an orange jacket. Why? Because they said
so.
Moral
got it.
power.
Okay.
Am I telling them something good or bad? It depends on the framework.
Right.
Intellect allows me to develop intellectual property, ideas for business. So out of these, there's always fruit that grows out of this, okay? Physically, I have strength, I have determination physically that I'll go to work, I'll start a business, I'll do this, I'll cut grass, whatever. Then out of that, what's the fruit of that? If I work hard, I get money. If I have money, I have land, I have cars, I have houses. That's the fruit of the physical dimension.
Okay,
You see?
I got it.
So each of those dimensions down here at the fruit level are evaluative tools for my success.
And what about you?
And I agree, because when we talk about that evaluative process, we have to understand that everything that we do has a message in it. Everything that we say sends a message. Everything that we don't say sends a message. Everything that we don't do sends a message. Until we come to a place of recognizing, how do these things impact my goals? How do they impact my morality? How do they impact my decisions and my choices? Because if I say, I'm going to punch Dr. Rick, okay, what benefit was that? Who's the benefactor of that? Is there any impact taking you or guiding you in the direction of your optimum goal? And your optimum goal is to be partners with Dr. Rick. So now, what purpose and what message did you send when you just punched Dr. Rick?
Well, let me ask you a question about that. That's just a question.
Oh, wow.
Do you think most people think that clearly about what they do, or is just, it felt good to punch Dr. Rick? I mean, that could be the end of it. That could be the end game.
Well, it could be a thing where, you know, he agitated me at some point and I got the opportunity to hit back now. It could be that too. But the thing is, when we collectively start evaluating our behavior, our conduct, the individuality that one has, we have to come to understand we're going to send messages. Are we sending messages that are gearing us and guiding us toward the successes and the goals that we've established? Or are the messages we sending taking us somewhere different? Because the reality of the matter is, whether we recognize the messages or not, the inevitable end will show up. So if your messages,
always,
always, you can,
for good or evil,
for good or evil,
one or the other.
Okay.
And we have to understand which ones we're putting out there, because God gives seed to the sower, and whatsoever a man soweth, so that shall you reap. So if you're not sowing those things from the physicalities that get you in a place, that reposition you in the place to say, okay, I can be successful because now I'm within my boundaries. And yes, now everything is structured. Things are decent and in order. And now I'm starting to see some fruit that's favorable to where I'm at, because the thing is, when we're not seeing the favorable fruit, that's an indicator and a red flag that, hey, I need to reevaluate the messages that I'm sending, because whether it be a verbal message, whether it be a nonverbal message, whether it be an action that I needed to do or something that I needed not to do. Until we come to understand that all of those things collectively together have to be reevaluated and systematically aligned with our purpose, we're throwing darts in the wind.
So
That's major. That's major.
I just want to throw one
Okay.
thing in about, because you were talking about evaluation and I talked about success potential. Okay, that's something to be evaluated. My success potential is my physical resources, okay? Whether it's the strength I have physically to go to work.
Okay.
If I don't have physical strength to go to work, I can't use that in the category of resource.
Right.
Okay.
If I have physical monies that I can pay somebody to work for me,
Right.
then I don't necessarily, I'm not going to use my own physical resources,
Okay.
but somehow or another, physical resources is a part of my success potential.
Okay.
So I
So are you
evaluate.
saying, not to interrupt, but are you saying that success is not a guarantee? if you follow a logical progression such as the transformative process?
Well, this is a process looking out. Today we're talking about the
Okay.
process from inside out.
Okay, got
Okay,
you.
our driving, you know,
Mm-hmm.
even though you have gas in the car, you have wheels, the engine's
Mm-hmm.
working well, you still got to have a driver, and that's us, right?
Right.
Usually we have to decide how we use our physical powers. Like people say, well, I went to that party last night and I didn't get home till 5 o'clock, but I knew I had to be to work at 7 o'clock. Was that a good use of my resources? You see, and it's going to have an impact on what I do
Absolutely.
Okay.
and what I get, okay? The second part of that is personal and formal education. That has a big, big impact on my success potential. People say, well, if you go to college, that used to be the line. If you
Yeah.
go to college, you get this, you're gonna get a good job, you're gonna be successful. Well, they forgot one part of that. Personal and formal education. If you don't have the right personal education, then your formal education can be useless.
Absolutely.
I got it.
Absolutely.
You see,
Give me an
so,
illustration.
an illustration is this. There are a lot of people in my past life, you know, I taught at the Art Academy in Cincinnati. I was an artist, and part of it was photography. And there was a guy when I first started teaching. This guy had 2 master's degrees in art and photography,
Okay.
but everybody hated his class.
Hated his class.
They hated his class. They would come to my class because they liked how I related. I was
Right,
able to
right.
teach them something that they could put into practice.
Okay.
So finally, it got to the point where they lost. He lost so many people. They were going to cancel his class, but that's a whole nother thing. But that is a point where he was leaning on formal education and forgot that there are personal dynamics to being educated. So I have to have a balance even within that
Okay.
of my personal education and my formal education in order to be a good success potential, to look at my success potential. And then the last part of that is available opportunities.
Right.
Okay. If Dennis says, Rick, I want to hire you, but I need you to be at my office at 7 a.m. in the morning. And then I say, well, Dennis, I don't get up till 7:30. What am I doing?
That's a lost opportunity
It's a lost opportunity.
that you chose to lose.
No matter how much I pray, no matter how much I look at it, that's not going to get that opportunity back, because he said, what time? 7
o'clock.
a.m. I can't make excuses for failed opportunities. See, opportunities by the nature of them are limited in their scope and time. You
That's
want
why it's
apples?
called opportunity.
You want apples? Don't come in the wintertime to pick
Looking
apples.
for apples. That's a good analogy.
There's nothing wrong with the apple tree. There's nothing wrong with the land.
But it's
You
not
just
fruiting.
missed the window of opportunity. So I could have the resources, the strength to pick apples. I could know how to pick apples. But if I don't take advantage of the window of opportunity,
Or apples.
then I miss it. So sometimes my success potential is really hampered by looking at but failing to take advantage of my available opportunities.
Okay.
So that all of that goes together to my success potential. Now, do you want to deal with these 5?
Yeah, I do. I
core
would like for us to have a dynamic conversation about this, because from where I sit, and there are many that would argue that, you know, I have enjoyed a level of success in my personal life, business life, parenting, spiritual life, and yet I tell them that's a screensaver.
Right.
That's a screen, because I'm crazy as heck. God's grace. But I do know that one of the things that we were taught as children is that when opportunity knocks, you better open
Answer.
the door.
Answer.
You better don't be
And
running
be
around
ready.
and be ready, and don't be trying to figure it out. Knock.
Hold on a minute. I'll be down in 15 minutes.
Wait, I'm taking a selfie. Click. I'm on the phone. Yak, yak, yak. I ain't got it right. And then it's gone.
Well, that to me, that brings up just that whole thing of available opportunities is so serious, particularly in our society, because in a way, and it's not just young people, but young people tend to have this disease more than older people.
Okay.
They live in a dream situation where people owe them things, or things are supposed to go according to script, which they rarely do.
I don't know
Right.
any that do, but maybe.
So if you live in that environment and you have those expectations, the potential for disappointment is great.
Great.
Yes, yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Because
It can happen.
it
The
can happen.
expectations.
So this chemistry, this is what it is. This is life chemistry. I have to take my physical resources and balance that with my personal and formal education. Because if I want to be a brain surgeon, I can't say I have experience on my cat.
Poor kitty.
I have to go and get some
A formal
formal
education.
Yeah.
There are just some things that you can't use your life experience for. At least I hope you would.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So, wow, negotiating that, the physical resources and what that means, the formal and personal education and what that means, and balancing all that with what available opportunities. First, you have to see it as an opportunity. Then secondly, I mean, you've got to prepare for the opportunity.
Right.
Then you have to take advantage of the opportunity.
Let me give you a good case in point, which you can certainly articulate better than I. But I don't know if you were on the show or not, but I was there when all this happened. But Dennis had some really nice interns that were needed to have the experience and all of the above. And I was excited, except that they didn't show up consistently. And granted, an intern doesn't get paid much, if at all, because they're learning the job. And yet, once they've mastered it, it opens up all kinds of doors. And I watched these young people, and I was actually saying to myself as a businesswoman, oh, you're just so out the door, because they thought personality and charm was going to give them respect and tenacity
And
position. And of course, it did not work out like that, and they were very upset with him.
But you've put a finger on something that, without saying it, but I'm going to say it in that a forward way. When you properly balance physical resources, personal and formal education, and available opportunities, it yields passion. But if you don't have passion about what it is you want to do, that means that something is not balanced. See, you may know what you might know, and you have the capability of doing it, but you don't take advantage of that, you will have no passion for it.
Is passion a prerequisite?
I think a passion is a prerequisite for anything you want to do well. I mean, I would hope that if I had to have brain surgery, I would have someone who, well, is not crazy, and
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're not going down that rabbit hole. You're not dragging me down there with
It
you.
has
Okay, you're on your own.
the proper passion, right?
Okay.
The proper passion. And I think, wow, I don't think we've used that word very much in our discussion. But passion is what is the fuel that ignites moral power. See,
I need to
if
write
I
that
know
down.
what is right, but I have no passion for doing what is right, knowing what is right is worthless.
You're correct.
You see?
You're correct.
But passion comes
It's the
out
fuel
when
that-
that when there's an alignment between what I know I have, that's faith. I know I have this. I've used this before. I know I can do this. You know, it's like you dunk in a basketball. Well, the first time you try to dunk is tentative because you say, "Boy, that's high. That's higher than I thought." and that thought in your head stops your body from going and doing things.
My goodness. Now, I've never dunked a ball.
Yeah,
But you're saying to
yeah,
me
I'm
that
saying,
based
you know,
upon-
based upon the only reason that you thought about dunking is because you saw it on television. You saw
Absolutely.
Michael Jordan do it,
Absolutely.
and you say, "Wow, that's so cool!
I can
I
do
want
it."
to do that." No, you said, "I want to do that," but then you don't evaluate what made Michael Jordan do that
So well.
so well. Is his passion ignited from his physical resources. He had springs for legs. And then he trained on and off, night and day. And then he took advantage of the opportunity.
Which presented itself because he was prepared.
He was prepared. So many people don't have success, not because they don't have elements of this, but the passion doesn't grow out of the balancing of these things.
That's awesome.
Because the passion also fuels the training. Because let's just use one of the sports I play. When we talk about our bowling game,
That's right.
when you
You
look
are
at
a
it,
bowler,
when
a
you look-
championship bowler.
well, thank you.
Yes.
When we look at it on TV, the boys make it look easy.
They do make it easy.
They make it look so easy. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go get
I
me
can
a ball
do
to do
this.
this.
Yeah.
And then we throw the ball in the gutter, and it's like, okay, so now I need to work on this. And if there's no passion for the game, there's not going to be any work, because passion pushes you beyond that. I really don't feel like doing this. I really don't want to do this. There's something else that I want to do, but passion will bring you back into alignment with
The purpose.
There you go.
With purpose.
Without that passion, mediocrity sets in.
Hoo-wee. So let me ask you a logical question. The 1% that have all the money, and the 5% that have the remaining, and the 95% that have no money. The 5% that has the money, is that mainly predicated upon their understanding of not just the preparation, but the passion?
That's a good question. I think that I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound funny, but every one of those 5% is not successful.
Oh, wow.
See?
What do you mean? They inherited wealth and just leveraged?
See, success potential,
Okay.
physical powers or resources, balanced with education and personal preparation.
Okay.
Balanced with opportunity. So some of them had opportunity, let's say Donald Trump, because his father was into real estate.
Right, and wealthy.
So he gave him an almost inborn opportunity.
Yes, he did.
He had wealth. I mean, could you have borrowed millions of dollars from your
No.
dad?
No.
Bill
no.
Gates, he borrowed $75,000 to try what he was doing from. Well, if you didn't have those resources,
How could you do it?
How could you do it? But Bill Gates had something else, a passion that grew out of seeing a vision, a revelation of what was before him. He said, "Wow, if I borrow $75,000 from my dad and I take the training that I already have, and then, wow, here's an opportunity because IBM needs something, a system, I got it. And his mother said his passion drove him so much, he would not come out of his room for days.
Wow.
He would not eat. He would not, he just coded.
Wow.
He was coding. That was his passion. So when you see those 5%, they may have elements of that success potential, but that doesn't mean they're successful.
I got it.
You see, that's hope for us. Because number one, what do I desire? You know, what is my success potential? Maybe somebody's saying making $1 billion is success. Maybe that's not my idea of success. So it comes back to this, my success strategy. And I want to read these 5 things.
Okay.
5 core personal success strategies.
Okay.
This process is kind of like looking from the outside. This is looking from the inside out.
Right.
Okay. Number 1, recognizing and accepting myself. And I said, what stops many people who have the physical capabilities from dunking is their own assessment of themselves.
Which is, I can't be a Michael
I
Jordan.
I can't,
LeBron.
boy, that looks high. Boy, I've never done it before. You see, all these tapes start playing.
The voices.
And it's voices, but it's an inner voice, you see.
Right.
It's an inner voice. Now I am assessing myself.
Whoa, okay.
So if I don't really properly assess myself and accept where I am, I mean, the first time you ever had this, when you tried to dunk, and you go up and you hit the ball right on the rim.
That's usually the first experience.
What happens when you hit it against, excuse me, because I've never dunked.
It's like the object is the ball to go in the basket and not against the rim.
Well, you hope that no one's watching and no one else is
because they're going to say, rejection. You're going to feel worse about yourself.
Okay.
Because they say, oh, you didn't make it, man. You got to get up higher than that. But people fail to think about recognition of what you have, who you have. That's that self-evaluative process. But then you have to accept where you are, good or bad. Because when I saw that first thing was a rejection, what did I have to do? I have to say, I'm going to try again.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try it different this time. I'm going to hold the ball different this time.
Exactly.
I'm going to get a ladder and put it. You see? So that's number 1. I have to assess, what resources do I have? What training, what formal personal training that I have? If I'm stuck that I have to go to college, I have to have a doctorate, I have to have this, then I will probably never do a lot of things that I could do.
Okay, because you have limited
I have
your
limited
potential.
my success potential.
Okay.
You see, and that's not, we have to make it known. The formal education has its place, but it is not, and that's a trend with the millennials now, is not formal education, but alternate education.
They can learn online.
You can learn online, you can learn,
Google it.
Google, okay.
Secondly, is
You're right.
understanding my power of choice, or the power of my choices.
Okay.
Okay, I got rejected the first time, but I have to choose to try the second time.
Okay.
Okay, if I never choose the second time, I have zero potential of success of dunking.
Okay.
Right.
And I think also be prepared for multiple attempts.
Well, yeah. See,
Yeah.
Success is a process, not a point.
Right.
Right? It's not a point I arrived to. I was at home and I drove to success. No. Right? Success is a process that I have. And then the third thing, well, before I leave the choices are the fuel that I use to make anything happen.
Okay.
See, a decision is not a choice.
Yeah, you had to explain that to me.
The decision is on the way to a choice.
Okay.
How many times have you decided, I want to dunk the ball, but you've never made a commitment to dunk?
Okay.
You see, there's an intermediate step between decision and choice.
Which is a commitment.
Commitment.
Okay.
If I'm going to do something, I have to first conceive it, decide it. Yeah, I want to dunk the ball. But then there might be 80 tries where I rejection. Oh, I almost. And then I remember one time I was trying and I dunked the ball and I didn't even know. I didn't even know I dunked it until a guy said, "Oh, Rick, that was a good dunk." I was like, I dunked it? I didn't even know, right? Most of life is about gaining perspective on
And dunking
who
balls.
I am and dunking balls. Because sometimes the passion that we want to do things overwhelms everything else. For Bill Gates, I don't want to eat right now. I'm coding right now. And where did it get him?
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
Whoa. He became one of the richest guys in history.
Right.
Was it because of his education? No.
No, but his passion.
Passion driven, combining with resources and opportunities.
You know what? This is so good to hear because it does give us hope.
It gives us hope.
It does.
If you think about it that way.
It gives you hope because what it says is no matter where you are right now, once you have identified what really, really sets you on fire. That's why I don't believe those girls were on fire.
They weren't.
I just don't. I think they were going through the motions because in my own case, 30-something years ago, when I stepped into the arena of media and ABC News had asked me to talk about money. And I was just a young girl. I was just, 20s, late 20s. I was so mesmerized by all of it. And I just loved it. I can't even explain it. I just loved it.
Passion.
And I couldn't stay out of that production room. Major newspaper, couldn't stay out of it. And I look today and it's just like, you don't even think about it because you've done it for so long. You know what has to happen.
But it also tells you the power of habit.
Oh my
you
gosh,
would think
yes.
that a person who went and formally trained to do that would automatically have the passion.
You would think.
You would think. But if it was just a fallback thing and not a passion, well, I can do this. So-and-so, Cousin Sue did it, so I guess I can do it. And it's not your passion. Cousin Sue has gone to the stars.
Right.
And you're sitting on the ground wondering why the rocket won't take off.
Well, so the question that begs an answer then is, as a part of this, what I desire, so many people, and I wish they stop talking about this purpose thing and just focus on what has God placed in you that's waiting to explode.
Well, that's this number 3 that we listed here, understanding my potential.
Okay.
See, God has placed something in you, but if you don't recognize it as a potential, then you won't do anything with it.
Absolutely.
See?
So how do you recognize?
Well, you start smelling for one thing. No, I'm just
That's
Well,
Dr.
the
Rick.
reason I say that
okay.
is, number 1, passion drives, and it can drive without knowledge. Character creates the boundaries for my passion, right? Otherwise, I just got my foot on the gas
And going.
and I'm headed to the wall. Whereas character says, hey, just
Back it up.
Slow down just a little bit. So I need passion, or else I won't accomplish anything.
Absolutely.
But I need the boundaries that character does, and that's why we see so many crashes around us. They have the passion, they develop a passion, you know, I'm gonna get a tattoo, and then next thing you know, half their body is covered in tattoo. Well,
Was that such a wise decision?
why?
That's
Yeah.
what I
That
need to know.
and that
Why?
can limit, and that's what I mean is how does it smell? See, my passion has led me to do things, and
Without balance,
without balance,
yes,
without
without
a
balance.
good moral balance, and then people around you start. Every time you come around, they say, "What does that smell? What is that?
Chicken pie.
What is that?" You see, my reputation is going to tell them about something about me. Is going to tell me something about me.
That's so very, very powerful. Let's go on. So understanding my potential, and then after that is number 4 is?
Well, once I understand my potential, and that's a whole process in and of itself where I evaluate, I write down, I make goals, I make plans. That's the only way. We're not just thinking and say, well, I used to be able to dunk and that was okay. That's not evaluating your potential. Oh, I worked at this place for 30 years. That's not evaluating your potential. Your potential is looking at my passion, my experience, my formal education, my personal education, my opportunity. That's evaluating your success potential. Then you have to master effective communication. Suppose you have a job opening. Suppose Elder Dennis wants that job, but he never says he wants the job. He doesn't present himself as a job. And you say, well, Dennis, I need somebody to do X, Y, and Z. And he says, wow, I'm going to pray for you. He never speaks to his need.
I got it.
See, in a business world particularly, but in every area, how many men have been loving on a woman and she never knew?
Oh boy.
That's called
Oh,
class
boy.
reunion time.
Oh boy.
I know.
I just, but you never said anything.
Right.
You never.
So I married the dinkhead I married.
So, right. Well, I wasn't going to go there.
That's quite okay.
Because they settled, right?
Right.
And then passion leaves immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
Right? But the whole thing of mastering communication, we have to be able to interface with our world. And that's how cancer works. Did you know that? They have found cancer, especially tumors,
Okay.
they start by changing the dynamic of communication between the cells around it. It sends enzymes to that and changes the dynamic of how we communicate.
Between the cells?
Between the
or
cells.
the cells and cancer?
The cancer is
changes the dynamic
changing
between
the
the other
dynamic.
cells?
See, the cells.
Oh, no.
Now,
Oh,
and this
okay.
is, I know this
No,
is
no,
a
no.
medical aside.
Yeah, but no, this is
but
important.
It
This
is important because it relates. Every cell operates by laws. Okay.
Exactly.
Red blood cell is supposed to live 120 days, then it's supposed to die.
That's
apoptosis, they call it.
Yes, correct.
It's, you know, now, when a cancer cell changes that dynamic, it says, I hear you saying I'm supposed to die now, but
You ain't gotta die.
I'm not gonna die. Okay, so just shove that. I'm not gonna die. So it stops obeying societal laws.
The devil.
Right?
Okay.
So now what it starts doing is it's still in that place connected to the blood system.
Right, right.
It's still in the system.
Right,
It's
right.
still in the church. It's
Right.
still in the home. It's still in the family.
Yeah, it's still there.
Right? And then it starts connecting by the blood system to the things close to it. Have you ever had anybody sucking on you and you could feel it, but you couldn't see it?
Oh my God! You're getting ready to cause family revolution.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, what I'm driving at is communication. So
No,
then
I don't mean to
cancer.
be difficult here, but Dr. Rick, are you saying, and this is really important because I do know that cancer is a cell that will not die.
Well,
He has made a decision. I'm not dying.
Okay.
Okay.
Look at this. I'm gonna put this in a different frame
Okay.
of reference, and you'll see it though. God has promised us eternal life.
Correct.
Cancer cells says, "I'll make myself eternal."
That's the devil.
See, you got to know that that's not
That's
true.
not true.
And so it starts stealing the resources of those around it.
Okay.
That's a type of communication, you see? If somebody only is around you to take what you have,
got.
that's a type of communication.
Ooh-wee.
It should send a message to you.
Real quick.
But it a lot of times it doesn't because
it looks innocent.
it looks like you know that to be your neighbor. That's not. How many times they say these terrorists? I never saw that. He was a nice guy. I never thought he would have shot 30 people and blew up their places. Okay, that's a cancer though.
Got it.
Now, if mastering effective communication is really about seeing my resources, seeing my education, seeing opportunities, then communicating and putting feelers out in my sphere that I want that, I desire that. If you never put forth what you desire, then you'll probably never get what you desire. You have not because you
Ask not.
Absolutely.
See,
Pow.
the same dynamics work on a physical level, moral level, mental level. It's the same dynamic. It's only one set of rules, okay? And that last one is really, by the time we get there, we're such a disaster. Creating my personal life plan.
Yes.
How many people don't have a life plan and don't revisit that life plan? A life plan is not stagnant. It's like your tires. You go and check them. Every trip, you'd be a fool to say, I'm going to drive to Florida and never check your gas tank, never check your oil, never check your tires.
You know, that brings up an interesting sidebar, and that is that as a financial advisor, I have encountered over the course of 40 years so many people that refuse to execute a life plan, which of course includes a hefty component of financial decisions, because financial decisions affect your ultimate life goal. And they literally live out their life willy-nilly. And then at 60, when they realize, oh my God, either through job loss or layoffs or just retirement.
Or you just look in the mirror.
You just look, what the heck has happened here? Because, and then they want to call you to help them. And the reality is that I can't help you. You have lived your life. You've lived your life, and now what's left is what's left.
Well, I think that you could say that a person, even in that situation, there is help for that person.
Okay.
But the success potential has been limited.
Right.
Because you've ignored opportunities, you've squandered resources, and your training and preparation
Oh my God.
has not been in line with your goals.
Right.
So
by the time they reach our age, Ben just popped in. We only got 5 minutes. I can't believe this. Okay, men, fast forward.
Working principles.
Working principles, 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Well, I'm going to read them, then we can talk about it.
We may not have time.
Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Number one, you got to have a clear idea of who you are, what you are, and what you lack.
Okay.
Okay. Number two, set a life standard. The values and principles that people live by should be based on a divine standard. That's our
Yes,
because everybody lives on a standard.
right.
A good standard or a bad standard.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to pick a good standard?
Why wouldn't you choose God?
Why wouldn't you?
I
So, and really, when it says choosing God, it's really about saying the boundaries and potential that I see laid out from God I view and accept as a better way, a better plan for living my life than just Willie and Nilly had in mind for me, right?
Right.
The next thing is once I see that standard, I have to embrace that.
Yes, you
like
should.
Embrace kingdom.
Yes, embrace
if you
it.
don't embrace it, then it's not reality.
Absolutely.
It can be out there, but you haven't embraced it. You give a person a financial plan and they don't follow it. They haven't embraced it.
Right.
So you have to embrace the right living style. Then even the best plan needs to be tailored and suited
Right.
for you.
Right.
So you have to revisit and review your plan,
Right.
right?
And make adjustments.
And make adjustments. And then share your experience, share your goals. Because you tell Dennis, I want to be a billionaire. Dennis is going to bring some reality maybe to that. Your friends will say, well, Michelle, you borrowed $32 from me.
You need to pay me
You
my
need-
money
you-
back.
I mean, is
Right.
it's not reality, but it's a reality check,
Right,
Just
right.
because you borrowed $32 doesn't mean you can't be successful,
Right.
but it's at least a reality check.
Right. What are your take on that?
And in that sharing, the mindset of the sharing needs to be open to a place called mentorship. Iron sharpening iron.
Yes.
Two heads are better than one.
Always.
So, and the thing is, because we can always go through these evaluative processes, make all these changes, but if no one has evaluated the essence of what you've done to say this is what it is it really that?
Right.
Because the
Right.
Bible says out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses is every word established. So now,
Right.
if there's not 2 or 3 people evaluating the process that you've evaluated to say that this is, how do you know if it's there?
So you need someone to evaluate your evaluation.
Absolutely.
Woo-wee.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we get to play team ball.
Absolutely. And that's a key word. You need a team.
Team. You
You
need a team.
Absolutely.
What does a ball team do but practice?
Hello.
And what we're talking about is
Practice.
practicing how to be successful. Success is a journey. It's not a destination.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So it takes practice.
Absolutely.
And if you're not willing to put in the work, don't plan to be successful.
Oh, that's obvious.
Well,
And
I don't know.
y'all don't think so?
There's a whole lot of people.
I don't
There's a whole
know.
lot of people that run down the road going through the motions, expecting it to happen.
Right.
And it does not
I
happen.
got
Absolutely.
I got a master's degree. I got this. I got a doctorate. I got this, and that and other is saying there's no jobs.
Right.
You were depending on a ritual
To take you to a
take
result.
you to a place.
Right. An outcome.
Right.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, according to my master producer, and Ben Artis is awesome, our time is up. And this series has concluded with our session today on success. Is it possible using the divine order and plan of God? Yes, I said the G-O-D word. Why God? Well, you believe in something, and you might as well believe in Him, because His design for mankind, womankind, is magnificent. That's all I can say. But like everything, it requires tremendous work, discipline, humility, obedience, and a willingness to take stock of yourself every single day. Clean house every day. Any woman will tell you, a woman that never cleans her house is going to have dust and cobwebs everywhere. So you have to keep your house clean, have to keep things in order, relationships balanced. I want to thank you for allowing us to come into your home in such a powerful way over these last 4 months on perfect transformation. And we do hope that the information we have given you has been powerful. Do recognize that information without revelation, meaning God's got to open it up to you personally, is meaningless. We recognize the limitations, but we challenge you to seize the opportunity for yourself. And that is my closing remark. I send you love, I send you peace, and most of all, God bless you, and you take care.